I think it said it's recording. Yeah, the little red dots there, so it's recording.
Yeah. There was something I was gonna ask you in here about.
Give you this one.
I made my own copies this time. Wonders never
I do
cease.
have some copies. Does anybody need any?
I didn't actually print out the agenda. I printed out Andrew's director's report. Thank you. No, that's all right. Ellen had one. Oh, why you just gave me yours?
You wanna hand
We
it
can
over?
follow it. It's fine.
Bring it up on my phone.
It's all good. You do. Now that you say that.
You don't want to stretch?
Anybody need a?
I think I
Regular
printed
report?
this. Is this
No, I
what
have the
you sent us?
report.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
printed
these
this.
are all things I
You got one of these?
sent, but in case anything.
Yeah. All right.
The only thing I didn't print.
Alrighty, we'll call to order at 6:03. 6:02. My glasses on for that one. All right. February minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read them?
Yes.
You accept the minutes as printed.
As corrected, you corrected Lee's name?
Yeah.
Okay.
I second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's skip the friends for now, and unless you guys know what their update is.
The only real update was the event we had the other night, which we had low numbers, but it actually turned out good. It was the Oscar
Oh, yeah.
event.
10. I think.
10 people, yeah, including, Andrew and I and Katrina and we had made the decision that we weren't gonna do the whole red carpet thing, like we were gonna. So when I got there, I still had the red carpet stuff in my car. So I was like, you know what, let's just roll it out. And it was like a little bigger than the stable. It really wasn't that big, but people got a kick out of it. Katrina bought boas. So we gave people boas. We're like, oh, get dressed up for the Oscars. And they got a kick out of it. And we took a couple pictures and she bought these little signs and stuff. So, and Frank gave a great presentation. Everyone was very interested and people were able to ask questions and he's so knowledgeable of that kind of stuff,
We'll
so.
have him back. I don't know when we'll have him back next, but we'll have him back.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he was great. So, I mean, other than that, I know she's got a couple of other programming coming up, that they're excited about. The tea and the, medium is full. Or not, no, I think.
Oh, yeah,
well,
so
those
the
mediums-
Yeah, so for a while there, the medium was like, she was like, well, I don't want to have enough more participation. But then I think Katrina sent out another email blast.
For the school, right.
Yeah, and boom, like,
Yeah.
next year.
So so Tara opened up a couple more spaces.
The tea programs they're doing over at, what is the place that's near the?
Makes sense.
Herbs make sense, yeah.
Signed up for one of them.
Those are all full. I think one of them has 2 spots left. The other one is completely.
That's
full
great.
also.
Yeah. So as far as I know, I don't know if there's,
Oh, you can drop it off here.
Oh,
They
okay.
just pick them up in the mailbox.
yeah.
Right.
Is that medium? Is that Gary McKinstry by any chance?
No, it's a woman, I believe. Ellen
Ellen,
or Elaine.
actually, it's in here. Ellen Henry.
Ellen Henry, yeah.
My wife's in Puma Girls in Upton. They have one coming in August.
Oh, really?
They sell
They
out.
die for
Yeah,
it.
they
Yeah.
really do.
Any parent.
Literally, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had fun the other night.
Yeah.
It's a big presentation.
They have a Zentangle. I know they have like a Zentangle program.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Facebook today.
And, trying to think what else. Not recalling it.
Like trying to scan the little desk. Yeah, I don't, other than that. but yeah.
Okay. Andrew, direct.
Yes, so the on-call library assistant, which I think is a great idea. I have not heard back from Kim yet, and I copied
Shelley.
on it, but I haven't heard back. To me, it's really, it's not something she'd have to think through because the same amount as probably the lowest staff salary.
Sure,
And it's just covering hours that were
right.
there.
So it's,
Yeah, but
budget.
Kelly said you should contact the town administrator. So I'm trying to, you know,
Yeah.
go through.
I
the
suggest-
chances.
I suggest trying to get her next Wednesday, because she
Yeah.
usually comes in the day they have meetings.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sounds good. So yeah, hopefully we can have a couple CPR, AED training sessions here. Hear back from them, and if not, I'll reach out to the chief, but the guy was looking at both upstairs and downstairs for training.
Oh, good. Yeah. He's here.
Do you want me to halt and have her?
Leave again.
Yeah, let's, we haven't gotten too far in.
That's fine.
All right, we'll bounce back to the Friends update.
Okay.
I told him about the Oscars night.
Oh, yes. Sorry I'm late.
That's
Oh,
it.
and the baseball. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we had the Oscars. So we have two T classes coming up in the end of March, and they're both full, so that's great. Yeah. And so we're trying the 6-word essay again, and we're getting a couple of responses rolling in. So we'll see.
Did you, I don't want to interrupt for too long, but did you, I talked to Brianna over at Clough, and so if you do want to do it, I just have to connect you with her.
Okay.
If you want to leave, that is, if you want to leave like a box there. things
Okay.
Writing out 6-word stories, she says that's fine.
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't recognize her name.
I think she's been there for 2 years. Brianna Zalewski.
Yeah, I don't know her either.
Zalewski. Oh, okay, okay.
This is a literacy night they're doing, next week.
Oh, with the book fair?
Literacy.
Yeah, you know how they do that literacy night with
The
the,
library.
with the library
Oh,
book.
no, I'm sorry,
Um,
22nd.
Oh, okay,
But it's in coincides with their
right.
scholastic book fair.
So we'll probably open up the seed library pretty soon, maybe the end of March, I think.
Yeah.
Timeframe, yeah. And then the Zen Tangle, we sent out the notice today. There's already 4 signups. That's
Nice.
great, yeah. And then,
Lisa
yeah,
will be
the
happy.
baseball event, we put that out there. I guess the whole goal is to see that, if we get enough of a response, maybe next year, try and turn it into a fundraiser. They have this town takeover night. So, we'll see how it goes. If not anything, it'll just be a fun night out.
Right. So the only comment I had, and I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but when I opened up the email on my thing and I was like, oh, that's so cool I like the QR code when I saw the poster, but when I opened it up on my phone, I'm like,
What,
I can't scan the QR code
when you're reading it?
when I'm reading it on my phone.
Yeah. Well, I have
But there's
the,
another link in there,
there's a
right?
link in there,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
And then I guess last of all, we'll probably just start book donations maybe next week or so for the book sale.
Oh,
Let's see.
let's see.
Oh, the end of April, beginning of May.
Right, yeah, because I think
Okay.
you just want to do like a month's worth, correct?
Right.
Sale itself would be in June, early June.
I think it's the Saturday after.
I was thinking the 10th maybe, do you think?
10?
Yeah,
Okay, so
just a
then I would
guess.
say-
Yard sale,
Townwide yard sale.
And we talked about this, so like,
it's usually around the
basically, we're
Strawberry
just gonna have people
Festival.
drop off here.
They
right?
do it at the same day.
Yeah, it's just that, there's
I
so,
don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. We just have to make sure that.
right.
Do you do it the same day as the yard sale, the progressive yard sale?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. I'm turning my-
And so like, basically, as it gets, built up or whatever, I can always bring stuff over to the garage. or whatnot.
Right.
I think a month's worth of collection.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
At least we can, I don't know if you just have somebody pick up the extra books, but we got the bins at Misco that we can use, right? Them bins at Misco. Bins, they used to, not
Oh,
anymore.
they did it, but I don't
They
think.
did it a long time ago. I don't know if they
So
still do.
we'll Probably have to go ahead and do. It changes all the time.
No, I have it. It's in the Friends email.
It wasn't big hearted. Was it?
No, they,
No, but
They
it's in the,
disappeared,
it's
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Friends email because
Yeah.
that's where I
More than
contacted them
words?
through. No, it wasn't more than words.
Whatever we
You
used
got it.
last year.
Whatever, but it's in the.
Yeah,
Friends
whatever
email.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found it.
It's in the.
Take
Friends
Oh,
email.
yeah, yeah.
Janice Muldoon.
Janice.
Janice will do more.
Oh, she took 90%
But
of
whatever
it.
she doesn't want,
She doesn't want.
Right.
She had a lot of nice things to say about you people today.
big carded
Good.
books,
She did.
Nice.
big carded books maybe, I forget. I don't know, it is in the email, the contact information of who to even email is right in the front page,
Yeah.
but done it all right in there, so.
Yeah.
Just go around.
Yeah.
If not, so it'll be somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see, continuing with staff, Ellen pointed this out. It really should be April 10th or April 24th for our next staff meeting. The 17th is Patriots Day, so I'm not gonna insist that stay. Not that ruthless. Let's see, facilities, oh, so everybody knows the 3,800 was paid out by the town. The downstairs sink, at this point, there doesn't seem to be an issue, which is good. Steve, both the toilet and the sink. So I think we're good at this point. Like the septic's all pumped out. The issue with the blockage is jetted. Knock on wood. That.
You know what the blockage was? That wasn't a tree root or anything. was
Nope,
it, or-
no, it had nothing, there was nothing obstructing in there. It was what they call like a dry plug. And it's because I know it's. If you really want the details of why it happened, I can give you that.
We retract the question.
Yes. But no, but you know obstructions. Milford Exterminating is gonna come by one more time. No evidence of mice, which is great. National Grid bill, still rather high. I suspect it's gonna be high for the next 2 months. I'm looking at ways that I can get the temperature turned down. I'm trying to program or figure out the programming of this, because when I called Victory, they said, oh, we don't program those. Well, you guys know these systems,
Right.
you know, I'm like, why couldn't you program? And so they insist they will not program. So I'm working it out, figuring it out. And the bill is less than it was the month before, so that's good. I suspect 2 more months of level out a little bit.
Yeah.
Reception for the 5-year strategic plan, I thought went really
That was
well.
nice.
It was nice.
It's very nice.
And I got a chance to talk to Brian Murray, and he mentioned the earmarks. The only issue, well, the big issue with the earmarks is that there's a really tight turnaround. I don't know. Typically what he does is he reaches out to the town, and then the town responds or doesn't respond, as the case may be. So the turnaround is next week, Wednesday, the 15th.
Elena, we might need your help on this.
So
So this happened a couple years ago, three.
Yeah, are you talking about with the feasibility study?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, Brian Murray typically every year reaches out to the town administrator and asks if there's any seed money they'd like, you know?
mhm.
For capital
Yeah,
projects.
yeah. And he goes in front of the legislature and lobbies for certain monies. And a couple years ago, he came to us because he didn't get a response from the town.
Okay.
And certainly we would say yes every year, you know, because we have other things we could do around here,
Mhm.
but we don't want to step on the town's toes. We believe they've already been reached out to.
I don't know for a fact, but I
Right.
mean, he asked me, does the town administration contact us when he's made that?
Yeah.
And I said,
No, I've never gotten an email saying, does anybody have, I think,
the capital needs.
yeah, capital needs. So he typically reaches out to Kim. One, we'd like to know, has he done so, and does she have something she wants earmarked? Because if she doesn't, we're gonna jump on it.
Okay.
And I think you might get a response quicker than we will.
Okay, I can. And so did you say that the deadline might be March 15th?
Well, yeah, so it's Wednesday next week.
Yeah,
So I emailed Brian, and he said all he needs is a ballpark plus like a paragraph expressing the need.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Target, the issue is, even if you want to get a ballpark, you have to have somebody who's gonna like either do a quote, or maybe over the phone, we could do some sort of like, can you tell me what the cost on this would?
You talk about paving, right?
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
talked about the paving thing. The only problem is for something like that, they'd have to measure, and there's only so much time at this point. And getting a contractor in a short number of days.
To come
I
out
mean,
and
the
give
only
you a
other-
quote, yeah.
Yeah, to get us some sort of ballpark on something like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
We talked about like a digital sign as well
Yep.
up front. Are there any ordinances as far as?
So you'll need to get special permission from the select board, I think, or
Yeah.
planning board. To, if you want a digital sign, because we do have a sign bylaw and you need to make,
Okay,
you need to meet these.
I mean, I guess the question is which one you.
I mean, I would like one of those for the town hall too, so
Sure,
maybe Kim wants to get a digital electronic sign for out in front of, we talked about the police station, but
right,
because
sure,
that'd be nice.
right.
But, we have nothing to go on. We don't know if Kim actually wants this money or if we should jump on this
Right.
and say we want to get the,
Yeah, I
Parking
mean,
lot
because I
paved.
know that last time when we did the feasibility study, we were given 25,000, there was this thought that we had somehow skirted around.
right,
That
but it wasn't the case. That they were asked and nobody responded to Mr. Murray, so he came and asked us.
And I, at the time, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I didn't know, like, should I contact the administrator?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't really talk about that. He just said,
Right.
we have the ability to, secure an earmark.
And we only have till next week, so I mean,
Right.
I'd like to say, yeah,
I mean,
let us get you a letter.
the only other option is to find out when exactly he reaches out initially so that we have more time to get
The actual
something
quotes.
to him,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And we could ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, is anybody, I was gonna ask tonight, does anybody know somebody who does asphalting, paving?
Yep, I did it last year, so I have a whole bunch, and they were all really fast. I texted them.
Yeah.
Within like a week,
Yeah,
But I
patch
thought
is really good.
Yeah.
I thought that was further down on the list.
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say, what's
um,
wrong with it? It
Your
doesn't
thing,
seem
based on
like
the
it.
strategic
The only
committee thing.
reason we're talking about it now is because he's asking about
He's angling
earmarked
this money.
projects.
I know, but does it really make sense if we're gonna tear it up if we?
Is there someone else or something else?
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
That's my point. That was the only reason why we
No,
pulled
this
it
is
out to begin
this is why I'm
with.
bringing it to you, because I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
what the right, what is the right call at this
I
point?
mean, is
Because
there
like you said,
a different capital project that we need?
Well, that was the
The
question.
sign.
I think
Is that what
that's,
you
I think
signed, the
that's
sign?
neat. I like that.
The sign would be good, and I think the sign is probably.
The shed, does that count? No?
Oh, a shed for,
That's-
well,
That's-
the project would have to be something sort of, oh, you're talking about that?
Yeah, it's not
You have
ours.
to take that down, you mean?
Well,
Or
not take it down. I was
Well,
thinking-
how much would it cost to take down the rectory? Just take it down, not do
isn't
anything
it,
else.
somebody said it was like over
Actually,
100,000 though, to take down the building? No?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but like to a demo a building and take it away, I think it's like 30 to 40. I think. It could be wrong. I mean, I've never done it, so, but that's what I've
Didn't
heard.
someone mention?
course,
I
it's
thought I
not
heard
ours either.
70 at one
Right.
point.
That's not ours either.
Yeah, see, I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, technically it's not ours.
No.
You'd have to get permission for that. So, but the electronic sign? I mean, that's probably
I can
gonna
call
be about
signs-
30
I can
grand.
call
Yeah, call Karen. She can
Yeah.
give you, the only thing is the electrical part of it.
Yeah, because you have to dig the trench. I mean,
I think they're big money. They're like
Oh, yeah.
30,000.
Yeah, well, he said anything between 25 and 75,
All right,
so,
great.
all right. Yeah, and I think to your point, I think that's fair. Yeah, at some point, this lot.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to do the lot now if you're gonna expand in
Right.
within
That
5
makes
years.
sense.
Yeah.
Voice of reason.
All right, so I will contact some, let's find out sort of a ballpark for that, and then,
We have to use the money within a certain amount of time if they grant it to us? Or can we
I
let it
didn't
sit?
ask him necessarily what the time frame for using it is. I thought it was within a year, but I might be wrong. I know when we did the feasibility study, the idea was we were gonna pay, we were
Yeah.
gonna be paid out within that year.
That's right.
And we had to.
And then we got an
Wow.
extension because of the COVID, I think. We got another,
I'm sorry, go on.
Is that right? Didn't we get another year to?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I had to file a report.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
make sense that you would have to use it within the year.
But I'll find out from Karen. And then honestly, he said, you know, I can email him with a paragraph justifying why this is a need for us.
Yeah, well, we could also send it to him and say, if you receive something from the town, they get first priority. But if you don't receive anything from the town, then we want to put this forward.
Yeah, how would you like to do that? Would you want Elena to ask her, or should I just
Well, I
say?
think Elena should at least reach out and see if Kim had any
Yeah. So
ideas.
just so that I know what I'm asking. So this is to see, so Brian Murray would have contacted her about potential earmarks from the House of Representatives
From the state
funding.
for capital projects.
Specifically for capital projects.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then, all right, so I can ask. I'll see where it goes and then I'll follow up maybe with you, Andrew, if I have more questions.
Yeah, that's
That'd be
fine.
great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure.
And in the meantime, doesn't hurt for me to just give a call over there and for the future.
Right, be prepared and, you
Yeah.
know, if we don't hear back, then we shoot it off to Brian and there
Right.
you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, either that or like you said, just in the email say, you know, town has first priority. You
Right.
know, if indeed there isn't something that comes from the town as far as a request, then, you know.
Why can't we have two? One for the library, one for the town?
it's a good question.
That would be
That's a good
best.
question. If it has to be one versus like an amount, I mean, sorry.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I wonder if it could be more than one capital request. I'm sure the senior center probably has stuff they want to.
Well, I
Yeah,
know the
well,
senior
that's-
center is looking for.
Vote in, get 3 of them, get discounts for 3.
3 signs.
I mean, depending on how much it is.
Ask Karen. Karen would be upfront with you and
Yeah.
tell you if it's,
if you could-
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Why not?
Just make sure I marked that. I'm pretty sure I did. All right, so then, as far as the budget goes, we, the total budget is at about 66%, which is exactly where we should be. Ops, yeah, ops is a little bit above that at 69.6. Yeah, a couple lines that I'll talk about when I talk about the budget, that I have some concerns, but I'm just gonna be watching much closer. Let's see, lights, National Grid, that 2,900 was for, that would have been January's. So next month you'll see there it was 2,700, and as I mentioned, hopefully the next couple will be even lower than those. The only thing I would mention about budget is one of the areas concerns the programming budget. It's getting tighter. There's only so much left there.
Yep.
I'll talk about that a little bit. But, I've already informed Tara that things are getting a little tighter with the program budget, so we're gonna have to be a little more sparing. It's not awful, we're okay. Programs, all story times, including the pop-up play groups, have been great. The attendance is, you know, excellent every time, pretty much. Let's see, the Monday play group numbers have been good. Meredith's yoga sessions, those have picked up too. Like we've had quite a few parents and kids for the yoga sessions in the last couple weeks. Yeah, for both of them, which has been great. Probably more for the very little group, but still enough for the adult. March programs. Tara, by the way, is with her mom tonight. She's having some issues, so. We had the fly tying the other night. We actually had 5 in attendance, which is his maximum. It was actually, I thought he did a really nice job
Nice.
with like projecting it up on the screen. You could see everything up close. He just emailed me today after respond, that we're gonna try to do another intro class, and then we're gonna do a second, you know, like a follow-up, like a clouser for the clouser.
The casting?
Yeah, I know, this will be for the second, that other fly he showed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a different one. But I think he's gonna definitely do in the spring at some point, we'll do the fly casting.
Right.
Sounds cool. Yeah, yeah, he's really, I mean, he's very into it, so it's great. I mean,
Very cool.
and Ellen's met James.
Yep,
And he's
he has pulled.
great, because he is just, he's a go-getter,
Mhm.
which is wonderful.
Yeah, he's definitely seemed like a friend of the library.
Yes, absolutely. He and his wife and daughter, they definitely use the library, attend the programs, so it's really nice. Tina mentioned the tea blending, that's all full up. Tara was just gonna mention to you tonight that the beginning years, or excuse me, beginning bridges got a grant through the Boston Children's Museum. So they are going to have like a 6-week play group that Lori and Tara are going to host. That's essentially funded by Boston Children's.
Awesome.
Wow.
And includes this wonderful sort of kit that every family will get for the program.
Nice.
Really awesome. So that's going to be April 27th to May 1st. They actually finish up their other play group, their Thursday play group next week. I'm not sure what follows that. It might be like, there might be a break in there until this April. So that's going well. What else? Mondays. Monday's been all right. Maybe not as convincing in terms of the numbers as I'd
Not a
like.
long enough period of time, you
I
said?
don't know what the issue, like, for example, this week, like you can see, the first couple Mondays, we had, over 60 patrons.
Mhm.
And then this week, for whatever reason, just 38. So, but it's hard to, I think I mentioned it here, I'd like to do like a series of 5 Tuesdays, see what that's like, because
Yeah.
our Tuesday is usually our busiest day. And so I have some comparisons.
Yeah,
That was what I was gonna ask. How does that compare to what Dave?
Right, and what I want to do, and then what I want to do is, actually, the first thing I might do is just do a weeks long, because we need to do one anyway. We have to do a
Yeah.
quarterly count.
Yeah.
So do a weeks long count of every day, and then after that, just do a successive Tuesdays to see, because typically Tuesdays has been our busiest day, because that's when everybody comes.
do you, but you don't have data that compares the Mondays being open,
Mhm.
did it affect your your Tuesday attendance?
We did it lower. it.
Did it lower
Oh,
your
yeah.
Tuesday
I
attendance?
did not do that.
Mhm. I just thought of it just now. so.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
count? So like,
Well, for the longest time we had, and I will probably go ahead and invest in a new smart counter through Demco. So I've had 2 different kinds of counters, and both of them at some point or other have just given up. So this time we've just done manual counts. Anytime somebody's come in, they've counted upstairs and also counted downstairs. It gives a rough number, but I mean, even a counter would give a rough number. So
Yeah,
it goes
sure.
upstairs and goes out this way, or
Yeah.
vice versa. It's just gonna be a rough count.
goes
but-
in and out, goes back to, has to go to their car and come back in and.
So, yeah, exactly. Goes out to the car and then comes back in. So, I think we'll just hand count probably these next couple, because that's the way we did the Monday ones. And, we'll do that for a little while, but I am gonna get a set of smart counters. I don't think they're too expensive. Now, apparently I saw in the chatter an email that they're more reliable
Okay,
than other counters. Recently somebody said that they liked. And somebody else. The library programs on those days have been well attended.
Mhm.
Anytime she's had the pop-up play groups in the morning, is, what is it? The lowest we've had is 16 this week. Yeah. The other times, I mean, it was kind of, and the other times include, like the adult book club that happens typically on a Monday anyway. And the German club, which happens on a Monday. So those are the 30 counts include other, groups meeting that week.
So you have one more Monday then?
Yeah, Monday, this next Monday coming up, and then, yeah, I mean, not that we can't, try it again at some point.
Right.
right.
But, if I'm not mistaken, the total outlay for state aid each week, because Chris was already here during the day,
Oh, yeah.
So really, it's $107
Oh, geez, that's
each-
short money.
each Monday,
That is short
which
money.
has not been too bad. Basically, what's happened is, so Chris can cover 5, she can't do 10 to 4, so I just do like the first 2 hours, and then she covers, and then Monica is here 10 to 4 downstairs, so. we're pretty good.
Yeah, that is good.
Well, and yeah, 107.
It's not that bad at all.
So if we had wanted to try it again.
Yep.
Yeah, we could do that. Projects, Bluehost. Yeah, so my thought right now is to sort of talk with Chelsea at Bluehost and say, this is something we are gonna look into and try, just as almost as a stopgap until we have something better. I don't want to say better. It could turn out that this program works like a charm. And if so, great. But I mean, there are certain things that I just, that need to be sorted out. There's links that are broken. The search bar for the catalog, there are
So
problems.
this is with the existing website.
Yes, but the idea would be to have them help us with the broken links and with some of the look of it. I know Tara likes to have that whole sort of thing with all the activities and that, but that's not really the trend anymore. And especially if you're on your phone, it's mostly like, here's an image and then you're scrolling it, and that's kind of what I think where we need to go. with
Yeah.
all this. And it sounds to me, to this point, I have to get back in touch with Chelsea, that they can help with the mobile part of it. Oh, I mean, that is to say on a handheld device,
Mhm.
that the look can be changed. Right now, if you use your phone, it's microscopic version.
Yeah.
of
Or
our
I have
page.
to expand everything.
It's not mobile,
It's not-
responsive, so it
right,
doesn't
exactly.
change,
Exactly.
which most of the new ones do.
Yeah, and
So-
I've seen other sites, ours is too busy, it's too cluttered, there's too much on there, we need to simplify it, and I think but it depends on how hands-on Bluehost is gonna be.
Who does the school use? I don't,
I don't know.
yeah, but do they host their own?
I don't know about that.
I mean, I'll know soon enough if
I don't think
they're
they have
gonna,
their own.
if Bluehost is
But-
offering. Oh,
So
sorry.
Bluehost is a host.
It's a web provider.
Yeah, okay.
provider,
So
yeah.
the school uses a variety of different things.
Okay.
So they'll use like Weebly for some pages. They'll use, I forget what the services they use for the main page, but they'll use a variety depending on what they need.
Okay. So like the teacher's individual sites is typically Weebly,
Yeah, well, I'm on the,
but Weebly for our site in general, I don't think it's
I'm on
too,
Let's Go to School Advisory Committee. And
Yeah.
I know that right now, the last session we had was a discussion of what they want to do with their site, because they're not
Yeah.
completely happy with it.
So Maureen is really putting a push into communications up in the library.
Yeah.
Or not, from the district.
Yeah.
So she's got like a whole communications plan that she's
Okay.
going forward. I don't know if you've seen the local paper that's brand new.
yes.
But
Yep, I noticed it was very school heavy.
so,
Ah.
and that's a big difference from
Mhm.
papers of the past. That's a lot because she's generating these PR stories to put out in the paper.
Sure.
But also, there's a major transformation of district web pages. I don't know if you've seen that at all. There's like menus and everything, got everything organized again. And then the individual school ones still
Yeah.
haven't been built out. So that's.
Right,
where
and
they
that's
start-
what she was focused on, Jen.
That's what's going on.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think we'll know soon enough whether or not Bluehost can deliver what we're hoping that they deliver, and if they don't, then we put other options. I had 700, what did I say, 774?
Yeah.
For a 6-month term. Wasn't exactly. So.
Right.
Certainly.
Give my chance.
So, yeah, my next step would be to get back in touch with her, just because. And see what they can do, not only just with the site itself, but also making it phone friendly.
Yeah.
The vice.
Right.
mayor, I should
Yeah.
say. Let's see.
Doesn't help us with the app, right?
Oh,
the app is
it's totally separate.
An app is in and of itself, I think I told you that, has gone.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. I click on it and they're like,
No,
whoops.
and it's.
Yeah.
They just kind of, I don't know what happened. I think it might have been the pandemic and he just, whatever business he had there, just didn't keep up with it.
Yeah, you would think that would have been his
Yeah.
time to shine, you know?
Anyway, town news, yes, so, we'll talk about this in a bit, the policy and emergency closings. I clearly blanked. And in 2020, we actually revisited this issue of of emergency closings and weather-related closings. And for whatever reason in my head, I still was following a plan that was superseded. You'll see in here that it doesn't really rely on what the town decides to do. And I can't even figure out what the town is deciding to do anymore, because this last time it seemed like they were following what the school was doing, but they've never done that before.
Right, right.
So I
And
was a
there's
little
nothing in
thrown by
writing
that.
as far as I know.
I was a little thrown by, so it used to be that if town offices were closed.
Yep.
You follow what the town was doing. This last time on, where was it, Tuesday, a week
The
ago?
last day of February.
Okay.
Yeah, the snow day, the 28th. An email had gone out to say the night before, or the day before.
Yeah.
That, well, they'll know about whether or not, I was a little thrown because it said by 5 AM, the schools would have determined whether or not they would be open.
Right,
And then I'm like, okay, that's fine, but the town doesn't usually follow the schools.
right. But the way the email was worded made us believe that if the school cancels, then we're canceling, right?
Exactly.
And that's what the senior center does. The
Yeah,
senior-
they follow the school,
They
right?
follow the school, but they also did, I don't know, there's a fine line in there, because they follow the school, but they also something to do with the town hall. So if the school is closed, the town hall could still be open.
Well, that
It has been in the
case.
past.
That's been
So,
the case.
Yeah.
so if that's the case, I think in that situation, then the senior center is open.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So then why involve the school at all?
I know.
Just go by what
Right,
the town hall is
right.
doing.
Slightly different criteria too, because they're really restricted on the days they can use. So they have to extend the school year if they use.
Right.
days.
Right.
So what they really do is, the superintendent really makes the decision. But if there's it's always related to safety. So if they've got no snow days so far, and it's snowing, and it's a relatively light snow day, she'll still say, well, that's worth it because it's safety related. School. So there's a difference it's not, we observe this severity of storm.
Mhm.
This period storm is 4.3, I'm gonna close.
Right.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's made on a bunch of different variables.
See, the senior center, it would just be more like the programs. I mean, there's only, like, the band isn't gonna go out if it's snowing.
No,
Right.
no.
Right.
So the policy that I brought today, which was approved
You gotta go.
about 3 years ago,
Minutes,
in
yeah.
March of 2020, we'll go through it in a bit, but it kind of takes all of that out of the equation.
Yeah.
And leaves it with me, which is fine. I mean, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then if there's anything that needs to be extracted or added in. we can certainly do that.
I already have a correction.
Okay. All right.
Just one.
The parking lot. Not very happy on Saturday this week. Because when staff from the lot itself was not. And it was a slush/snow/ whatever mix, and it was a
It
couple.
was gross out.
Yeah, it was really heavy.
It was, and it was.
Yeah, it was heavy,
tough to get off the. I know Alan is out right now because he has an injury.
So there was no snow day for the library for last Saturday.
Well, no, because,
Wait, it's snow day.
because
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday,
it was
right.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And I checked with Monica and Jen, and they were fine with coming in. I said, the only thing I was thinking in the back of my mind could be, there might be an issue with the parking lot if they didn't.
That's right. The roads were fine. It was the parking
Yeah.
lots and driveways that.
Right, and so they got there, it wasn't done. Steve was clearing off the walkways. I asked Steve, can you just swing by the highway department? And I don't care if the highway department hears this or watches this.
No chance of that.
But Steve went in there and there were two guys sitting around and there was a plow sitting out in the parking lot. And the first thing they told him was, well, we quit 5 minutes ago. And then Steve said, well, you know, the lot is not done and they open at 9. And then one guy said, oh, someone dropped the ball. And then they started to bicker between each other who was going to actually do. Meanwhile, it's a little after 9. You got people potentially coming in, and that's a hazard. So they said they'd send someone over. Meanwhile, Steve goes and cleans the Grady's driveway because he's nice and does that for them. 15, 20 minutes later, and nobody's over here. So he went back and he was rather forceful with them. And they eventually got somebody over here, but it was about 10 minutes to 10. That's an hour. Now, mind you, 9 to 10 is not a very busy time. Saturday here, 10 is certainly.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
All it takes is one person to fall.
Right.
Right, absolutely. So
And it's town property, right? So that's
Yeah.
town liability, not.
Yep.
I'm all the way over in Medway. Like I could try, but by the time I would get over here, it would have been 9:30, 9:40 already. So in any event, I went and on Monday, went over to the highway department and I don't know who the secretary is, but she says, oh, John wants to talk to you. And I'm like, okay.
Not
fine.
Darlene.
Yeah, Darlene says, you know, and I said, okay, that's fine. And so he came back in. I mean, he was nice enough. It's Jen Dudley.
Yep.
He said, well, we don't know when, you know, we don't know when every town office or building is open. And I'm like,
Oh,
Why?
why is
How
that
do you-
not posted?
How do you not know that? But also, how do you not plow it?
Right.
I mean, it may or may not be here on Monday and you know we're definitely open on
Well,
Monday.
even if we decide to close, people still come in to use the book drop.
Right.
Like, it needs to be
Right.
plowed.
Everybody would expect the town hall parking lot to be plowed, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday.
Right.
So to say that about here, it's no different.
So I'm like, I don't know. He said, you know, well, you know, Steve was very forceful. And I said, you know.
Should have been.
No, I said, you know, if I have somebody step out of their car and they slip, fall, I got an issue. If it's not cleaned up. So I have his phone now. I will text directly to him when we need it done. If there's a day, I guess, you know, I mean, now that you speak about, because you're right, if somebody's gonna come and use the book drop, anytime it pretty much has to.
It has to be done.
You know, because I said, I can give you a heads up on days we're not there, but even so, if somebody still stops.
But it still needs to be done.
Yeah. Well,
I think it would be better if we sent a memo. Got to address it to Alan because he's the boss.
Right.
And just say that, you know, people are using the library even when we aren't here.
Right.
And for that reason, if it's snowing, we need the driveway.
You shouldn't have to make a call for that.
No, you shouldn't.
Here's the problem. Their hours, they don't list any Saturday hours, and if you call them on a Saturday, nobody picks up.
Right.
I have nobody to, so I reach out to the police department and I got dispatch. And they said, oh, well, you know, we'll contact the police department. And I don't know if that happened or not, but I'm like, I'm only doing this because I don't have somebody else to get in touch with. So now that I have a number, hallelujah.
Yeah.
And then I can really sort of now just make sure that they know it needs to be clean.
Okay,
Yeah, we
you're up,
gotta
you're
go.
taking notes now.
Okay.
Oh, we have to head?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta go pick up Emmy.
Gotcha. So anyway,
So you just have never called anyone and it's always done.
Very much. Pretty much everything.
I know.
Done. most of it.
why is, I do
And
feel like. we just
especially
sort
like
of-
on a weekend because there's nothing in there.
Well, because they're right next door to them.
I mean, maybe it's just down the road, but it does seem a little strange. You know, why? Why is it?
Let me ask you a question, Wayne. Does the senior center just automatically get plowed?
Yeah, that's what,
Why aren't we just automatically plowed? There shouldn't be, end of story.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Is it too far?
It's still a town building.
Oh, I know.
It's still a town
I know.
building.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, has she ever had to like call to say, hey, this isn't.
Yeah, she has, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened.
She has.
She's called it, that it wasn't quite satisfactory.
Right.
You know, they only did a couple of swipes in there.
Yeah.
And I've had that before. I had to call and say this isn't completely done and there's swaths that are.
Right. They come in and sand and salt and I know no one makes a call to them.
Okay.
Why do why is the library,
Short end of the.
everybody, it's short end of the stick and everybody talks about like it's
Pay
well, like,
somebody to shovel our walkways. We
Like,
pay somebody
yeah.
because the highway department doesn't do it.
the highway department will do everybody else's
They do the,
Town hall?
town hall.
and the senior center?
I
Senior
don't
center
know.
is hit and miss. I mean, there are two, yeah, I
Well,
usually go
sometimes you
down
go
and
up and
I'll go down
sometimes
there and it's not done and other times it is done, so.
Yeah,
I think that one of the guys that actually plows gets out and does the,
yeah, probably.
if he's the one doing it.
Yeah.
The parking.
I know they're, contracting it out to different.
Yeah, they hire seasonal workers. But
Well,
I've
he
always
said
had
to
this
me,
issue
too.
that
Yeah.
why isn't the town buildings being taken care of by the town's highway department? I don't understand that.
What John Dudley said to me is that they prioritize the roads first and then they do the town lots and that. I'm like, why, if you have a fleet
Mhm.
of plows, why aren't you splitting this out so that parking lots are given the same amount of attention that any road is because people are gonna come out.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that is, but he said to me straight out that the roads get priority first and then town when they get to them.
The library last.
He didn't say as much, but.
Say it right.
Oh, I know.
Exhibit A.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
It is.
Okay.
Let's see, collection development, policy. So I attended, 2 webinars, meeting room use and another one on collections, legal issues. I got a little bit of information. It wasn't a lot of sort of practical information for the policy itself. But as far as I can tell from things that I've looked through, I just need to make 2 additions. A challenge and request for purchase or inclusion forms, like have 2 of those. One challenge form, the other would be a form which if somebody wants to include something in the collection and there's any question about the liability of what that is, that they have a form to be able to say they would like it considered by.
Well, if we have a form, then we have to have a policy.
Well, and we have the policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but all the criteria is in the policy. It's really these forms. I mean, the biggest thing is this, as a challenge form these days.
Mhm.
So that if somebody challenges
Content.
something here, or media, that we have the ability to look at it, consider it. And that you have to give somebody a process.
Right.
To budget.
Yeah.
So I will add those in. And then next time.
Have they been vetted, these forms been vetted? Excuse me. Like,
Yeah, it's never happened here. I mean,
Oh, I
It
know.
could be, I guess.
Yeah.
I was gonna basically go off of what I've found with, other libraries. But that doesn't mean we couldn't do that and have taken a look at it.
well, it depends what's on the form. I mean,
Right.
probably the form itself. Questions probably aren't.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything that would be.
Probably more, our policy should be reviewed by legal, not
Yeah,
the form itself.
right,
Right. The form itself, I mean, is probably basically the person writes in what their,
yeah.
Why you want it.
why a challenge is.
Yourself.
But yeah, and any changes that I make, obviously, I'll bring that in this next time, so. And maybe what we can do is start, because the policies was something that was in the first couple of years of the strategic plan. Start reading the policy.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So I'll bring the collection development. Should pass it by the. And then regional news, it was really just kind of going over a little bit, construction grant round and the informational session I sat in for this particular construction grant round through the state. And I have that included on the agenda tonight because I want to make everybody aware of it, just draw everybody's attention to it. It's not something that necessarily has happened this time. There's clearly, would clearly be, I think, some, you need buy-in.
There won't be any buy-in.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think tonight I'll just kind of go over it real briefly, call your attention to it so you know when it happens and when the next round happens.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Elena. Oh, she's still here. Has there been any talk at your level about reinstating a capital planning committee?
I recall it being mentioned at one meeting. I think it hasn't come up too recently because the focus has been very much on budget, but I know Mike Goddard brings it up periodically. And I know that there is, with this new DLS report recommendations that, they encourage us to set goals as a committee. And I'm pretty sure that a capital planning committee will be on the goal list.
It really, because we're talking about this construction grant, we know that the library is not the priority right now, the senior center is.
Right.
But if
Right.
we were able to speak to a capital planning committee to say, where can we get in, jump
Right.
in here?
Right.
But without that mechanism, we just.
Right. No,
flounder.
I think I appreciate that point. And I guess I will also, are you in favor of setting up, or reinstating a capital planning committee? 'Cause I don't actually know when there was one. I understand that there is sort of one in name, but that's not.
Yes, well, it
actively.
used to be Jay Byer and Norman Round and I think Matt O'Brien, and people just never showed up at the meetings. So it kind of just disbanded. Yeah.
Okay. So it
I
probably
think they
needs
met
somebody
for like
who's
6 months.
probably needs somebody who's very engaged to be the sort of ringleader.
Yeah, and maybe that means that maybe it's a subcommittee instead of of different other committees in town.
Right. Well, right. Like the land use committee is made up mostly of members of other committees. So the land use committee is, has community preservation, conservation, planning, and select board. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe something along that model might make sense.
Yeah, okay. I just thought I'd see if there was any talk about it.
I know it's come up, but it hasn't been the center it hasn't been a main topic. It's been more of an aside.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
maybe, hopefully, we'll bring it up maybe this summer.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions about the director?
No?
The budget report, just a couple of things on there. Lights, as you know, balance remaining after February is 5,000. Just know that 2,700 of that is coming out. So really it's about 2,300 remaining in there.
Yeah,
That means we'll tap into the fuel line potentially, potentially tap into the telephone line, potentially tap into contracted services.
yeah.
Building maintenance, just because of things that have happened this year, it's about 2,100 remaining. Hopefully we'll have some money going forward. I'd like to just be able to do a carpet cleaning at some point, which is not all that bad. I think it's about 800, but there's a couple things I'd like us to be able to do, and I'm just hoping there are no more plumbing and septic
Yeah,
issues.
well, unexpected mishaps.
Right.
Do you think that if the thermostat were adjusted, you would see a savings more than?
That's a great question.
I mean, I'm just
I thought
not,
I would
maybe,
try
maybe we should have someone come in and, if you're not able to,
in program.
yeah,
Who?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your next maintenance due.
Well, that's the thing is they won't do it. Like,
But if you actually just happen to have the right person there,
yeah.
they wouldn't care about.
Trying to think when the next time is that they're in. It's gotta be sometime in the spring. Just don't know.
Okay, so that's probably coming up soon.
When I contacted them recently, they said, well, that's not something we do.
Yeah, all over the phone.
Yeah, well, not over the
Yeah,
phone.
no, but I'm saying like over the phone, the person there is gonna say, no.
Right.
But-
But sometimes when you get the person here, you'll be like, hey, can you help me program this?
I think I know the direction I'm going and I think it's correct at this point, but,
Do you have a DFU for that?
directions.
Directions for use?
Yes, I mean, it's in the, there's an OED
Okay.
upstairs, we've got a couple of binders. And just- Well, of course, it's not for the same, so the thermostat doesnent look the same, whatever.
Yeah.
You're like having to figure it out
Oh.
because it's not what's pictured. Because everything is, well, I went online to see if I could find the exact. I have there's no YouTube or tutorial for it, but we'll see what.
And what about lights? Are they on all hours of the
Okay,
night?
so, no, the only light that's on at night is the one that's in the foyer at the front there. Every other light, and that one doesn't turn off, so every other
Fine,
light
because
is off.
the book drop is there, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, basically, and every other light is off. During the day, so for example, on a Monday, if Chris isn't in until noon, I don't really have the lights on till noon. Like on a Thursday, she has a program in the morning, but there may be other times, like I'll leave if I'm not in the downstairs, the lights stay off. And there are other times I'm turning them off when there's nobody here, like
Yeah.
tomorrow, I won't have them on until.
Oh, so you're doing all the-
Anyone here.
The things people would suggest.
Right, yeah,
Right.
trying to not have, the entire place.
And at some point, if we find out that we just can't stick with National Grid,
Then we just-
then we just sign up with somebody else.
Is the town staying? Put?
I have no idea what they do.
Yeah, do we know, what is the town hall? For electrical?
It's gotta be National Grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Laura pays that bill. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's National Grid also.
I mean, we're getting soaked this, can't.
Yeah.
believe how bad it is. But, like I said, I'm hoping the next couple bills are less, and then after that,
Right.
it should be that bad. Like I said, there's about a 4-month period in the winter time.
Because your heat's electric too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Everything's electric.
Was there any movement on, Elena, you might be able to answer this question. When we kind of touched upon the solar. And we
So,
were,
no, I put it's on my to-do list that I want to talk to Ann Mazar about it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know in general about municipal projects for solar. I know
Right.
like there are a lot of incentives for like private, for homes and for businesses, but it's not as clear to me about, municipal buildings.
okay,
But I mean, I have contacts and it's on my list to ask about that because I think it could make a huge difference for the library's expenses, especially
Yeah.
with the electric heating, because I think it's air source heat pumps, right? Your heating is so and those can use a lot of electricity. So anyhow, it's on my list.
Okay.
And yeah. Thank you for asking me. I will keep it on my list. Yeah.
So the books line is about 12,000 left. That means we have about 3,000 to spend a month. That's probably less than, I mean, it's not less than it goes fast.
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine, but I think that'll be all right. And then, like I said, the only other line to really watch at this point is the programming line. And I told Tara that we're gonna have to scale back some.
Yeah,
It's just, we do a lot of programs.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's, if you have, and it's things like if you do, what do they call it? Like muffins with mom, she used to call it, I think it's coffee and conversations.
yeah,
But you're getting something for, what's the?
Muffin House.
You know, all that adds up. If it's $40 here and
Right.
$30 here.
Yep.
well, you know.
Right.
So we just have to keep an eye on that. Other than that, I don't have a major concern. Like I said, operations is a little high. It's about 70% right now. It should be a little bit lower than that.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions about the budget?
No, my only suggestion with programming, obviously, I know the Friends money isn't endless, but
Right.
you know,
I did mention the Tara, maybe.
yeah, at some point we,
We've already started. you know,
yeah, we
with
are,
the-
we have, yeah.
Yeah,
And then does that dollar amount take into account your expenses for summer reading?
No, then that's the issue is that,
not really, right? Because.
yeah, so I mean, there's a couple things like because we usually get to the point where there's not a ton of money left.
Oh,
We try to
oh,
move
right.
everything into July as far
Yeah.
as expenditures go, like, and then.
Oh, because that's our fiscal year is July
Right.
to,
So I'm
okay,
also saying,
all right, that makes
we've
sense.
got a certain amount left by the beginning of June. I tell Tara, if you're gonna do spending to come to reading, we want to do it now at the beginning of the month, so I can get it cleared off the books by the end of June.
Right, okay.
So she usually will do like a couple.
Yeah, I forgot our fiscal year was,
Then, yeah, but then in July, it's a whole
Yeah.
new story, so.
Yeah.
But it may turn out we'll have to, ask.
Right.
Friends depending
Yeah.
on where-
Are you finding that anything in particular has seen a big price jump?
You know,
I mean,
far as
besides
programming?
the electricity
you
and,
know, performers,
But
like,
anything else?
well, yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, performers were like, if somebody was at $350, they might be up to 400 or 500 now. Could have, you know.
well, I think COVID,
yeah.
like,
Inflation in general, they've.
yeah, well, inflation, yes, but COVID, I think, made, you know, they all started doing these,
Yeah.
I-
Hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes, yeah, you can lock it. So like, yeah, if somebody was at 250, they might be at like 375 now, you know, everybody
Yeah.
goes up a little bit and then suddenly that adds up. to us.
right.
Increase might be a little, it was more gas related. I mean,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, but that's probably
Part of their thing. as
part of
well.
it, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
And they never go down, like, once they go up,
and a performer.
Yeah, not coming back down.
Performers, that's the bread and butter. Everybody's getting gouged.
I can't believe Santa Claus charges a fee for anything, like, you just, you know, I was a believer, but.
So, yeah. mean,
I have to
some of
leave
that-
as well. I have to do a pic.
Oh, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Katrina,
Yeah.
So that's the budget. report.
Are we gonna talk about the closing again? Do we gonna bring, because I had
Oh,
another,
yeah, because that'll be under library policies.
okay,
Weather-
all right,
You talking about weather related?
something related to it.
Oh, yeah.
I know the town now is going to do like, you know, they do those blanket calls, the townwide calls.
yeah,
Okay, I haven't received those. If they're still getting reverse 911s, I don't get.
I haven't gotten one in
I haven't
a
gotten one in a
while.
long time. It's been at least 2 years.
And I know,
I haven't either, now that I think about it.
we got,
And that worked. I thought it worked.
Yeah.
It was nice.
'cause
Well,
we had,
you know, you can do your own. You
Yeah.
can write it up and ask, Nick. Nick is in charge of the code red, and then you have to like pre-record your message to say that the library will be closed tomorrow
Oh.
due to inclement weather.
because we ran into trouble with the lake last year.
Okay.
It was closed a couple days for E. coli.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and there weren't signs out or anything and people were still in the water.
Oh,
So that's one thing that they are working on. It's supposed to work this summer, but it's gonna be town-wide. I know like the schools that just went to the parents
the-
school.
right, the schools just
right.
go to the parents of the kids in the school.
For obviously reasons, but
So Nick, who's this?
Erskine, Officer Nick. He can walk you through, he'll send you instructions on how to do your own.
Okay. right.
It's not that hard. I
Yeah.
had to do one once and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, but it really wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
And then you tell them what time you want it to go out and
Okay.
it goes out and they're punctual. It goes out right when you said it goes out.
And anybody who signed up for it, obviously received the. alert.
Anybody signed up for code reds will receive.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
well, just like a MailChimp, they probably schedule it ahead of time.
you can encourage your patrons to sign up for it,
Yeah.
because it doesn't have, they don't have to live in town to get our code reds. If they sign up for our code reds,
Okay,
if they're in an adjoining town, then
all right.
they'll know whether their programming is canceled or.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, obviously, we post it on the website, it goes out on our friends Facebook and on our regular Facebook. I think those are kind of the major avenues. Oh, that's another thing HVAC has to look at. There's something that's clicking and hitting. The fan that's
That's
in
the
there is
fan.
hitting.
yeah.
Hold on. Did I put that down too?
The fan.
And, that's good to know. That'll be good. Oh, did we want to talk about that, or are we gonna talk about the, construction project, isn't it?
Yeah, construction grant period.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll just go over it really. So they changed the construction grant program for the state. It's actually better than it. I don't think anybody remembers when we first moved in here. We had the MBLC representatives from the MBLC come and take a look at this place. And because we were interested in, state monies if we could. And at the time when they looked at it, they said, well, this doesn't qualify. Because it had to be, do you remember this? It had to be over 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, see, I think I came in kind of after that, but yeah.
But this is what, 6,300 square feet, so it didn't qualify. From what I understand now with the construction project process, that sort of 10,000 square foot threshold doesn't exist anymore. Because this is for populations of 2,500 and over, and it includes, as far as I understand it, additions. You did an
Oh,
addition
okay.
as opposed to
A
a
full,
completely new building.
yeah,
Because back then, it seemed to me that the priority was for
new construction.
new construction, 10,000 square feet or over.
Mhm.
This was changed in December, and has been implemented now, and so they issued this, I sent everybody the program notice for the general construction projects, that was issued on February 2nd.
Okay.
So this is all very new, but what's interesting to me is it's like, okay, here it all is, and now you gotta do all this if you want to do it.
Yeah.
So there's no stipulation as to what your square footage has to be
I've got,
bigger than.
um,
I have an email with that.
it was a link, on the email, it was a link.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
why.
clicked it. I'm sorry, I put it in as a link. They do have,
Thanks.
I didn't, could you,
oh,
I
sorry.
missed, who is it that does the grants? The
Oh, it's
construction grants?
Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, MBLC. There's a couple, and Lauren Stara and Andrea Bono Bunker were the ones actually that came out the first time to take a look and see
Okay.
whether or not this building was viable. And clearly at that time,
Okay,
there were restrictions in that it just didn't
Okay.
apply to what we wanted to do.
okay, great. Thank you. I just
so-
didn't
yeah, yeah.
catch it, so. I don't think
Oh, no
I don't
problem.
think I got the email from you. I don't think I'm on the list, so.
Oh, shoot, did I not send it to?
At least I didn't, if you sent it, it got buried, that's all, so it's
Okay.
possible.
I'll forward you what I sent and maybe I'm.
Actually, I can forward the email to her.
Oh, it's it's, I didn't even see the
I
link,
didn't see the link either.
but it's
The
there.
link is there, and it's my bad that I don't think, Elena, I might have left, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. I can
Oh,
ask,
that's no
I can
good. I
ask
have to make sure
questions.
I
Yeah,
do.
Yeah, I'm gonna forward it to you right now.
thank you.
Yeah, so there'll be, on the email, there's the director's report, budget report, along with the policy for, closings, emergency closings. And then there's a link, and the link is where the general construction projects, program notices.
Okay, great,
I'm
thank you.
sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm writing this
you don't, that's all right. I
No,
I
have
get
to
a
make
lot
sure
of
that I
emails,
copy you
so like,
on the emails when I send them out. That's my bad.
I think I
yeah,
forgot
I
to.
would like to get them, like if you can
Regularly,
easily add me
absolutely.
to your list, that would be great.
Yep, Will do.
Actually, I'll have your email added to the Taft trustees group.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Then you'll
so-
always get our stuff.
Okay, nice. But wait, that might be more emails, but anyhow, that's all right. I accept
Might
that.
be.
It's not that many,
Okay, all right.
really, right? We don't,
No, we don't email that much.
You probably don't get a lot of like emails from the public to the library
Nope.
trustees. Okay,
We do not.
no, not for the trustees, no.
okay. All right, well, I look forward to getting that. Thank you.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I'm also at a point in my life where I have, I think, like, I don't know, 8 email addresses that are active. I don't know. I have to count because I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the program, the application round this time runs from February 2023 to June 2024, which is like the
Oh,
time frame we
okay.
need to get everything.
In.
However, there are pieces that need to be in prior to June 2020, including the letter of intent. The letter of intent has to be in by April 28th,
Oh.
2023. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy because they just released this or approved it in December. And if you're interested, have to have your letter of
Jump
intent
right
by
now.
April 28th, right? And they said that if you do nothing else, do the letter of intent, because at the very least, then that opens you up to be able to be eligible. The other thing that I'm understanding though from this is that it's going to be very, very
Oh, yeah.
the way it has. But also it needs buy-in from town, which I think is
At this point, I think their priority is the senior center.
right. So I'll just we'll go through a couple pieces of this. The official program notice, and like I said, it's for populations of 2,500 or more. With a couple good things, we actually have a strategic plan on file, which includes an action plan. In this case, if for this grant round, it has to have one for FY 2025. And the action plan, if it's not part of the strategic plan, has to be received by December 1st, 2023. From what I understand, like on here where it talks about eligibility, in a municipality having a town council form of government, a majority vote of the town council is necessary, I believe. Sort of go ahead.
We don't have town council. We have town meeting, open town meeting. So it's a majority of.
Oh, the vote. Okay.
And yeah, it should be just a majority.
Okay. It says if considering renovating and or expanding the existing library and existing municipally owned building, a conditions assessment must be completed by a building sciences firm, an engineer and architect hired in compliance with procurement law. I'll come back to that because I asked Andrea at the MBOC about a feasibility study, the one we did in 2020, and whether or not that applies. We'll talk about that.
You could do a RFP for that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there are these workshops that happen between May and June, but it has to be attended by a library representative, at least one municipal official. This is all stuff I'm just telling you for the future. And then the grant application has to be in by May 31st, 2020.
Okay. So how much, if let's say the town bought in,
Right.
are they responsible for 50%?
All right. So if you go to where
There's a little table there.
Yeah, the table's on page 8.
Yeah.
So if you have to do a planning and design phase, 50% of that cost up to 100,000 can be awarded through the state. 50% is on town. And then in the construction phase, and I was just thinking in terms of like when we had the feasibility study done, I think it was 3.5 million. Does that sound like that? 3.7 for the addition?
Yeah.
Somewhere along there. So if you're talking like 5 million, The state would cover 60% of the fund. What else can I tell you?
I'm putting the cart before the horse here. I'm not,
Yeah,
could the rectory fall into this category?
well, this is what I'm.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
This is only, I mean, if you're looking to do it, you know, have it be state funded. So I asked Andrea a couple of questions. One of my questions was, just that I thought, look, if I'm gonna bring this to you just informationally.
Yeah.
I just double checked. She said letters of intent must be submitted by April 28th to even be considered for the round. If we decided to forego this round, when does the next construction grant round take place? Because it doesn't show in here. I said that our library completed a 5-year strategic plan that goes from 2023 to 2028. Would it still be eligible for the next construction grant round? Then I mentioned to her the feasibility study with the $25,000 earmark we got from the state. And would that be considered as part of the planning and design phase? Or would we need to go through that process again for the project?
Yeah,
Anyway, I'm sorry, go on.
well, the dollars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Check this out to Elena's point about municipal projects for solar.
Right. So
Green
yeah, I'm
library
sorry, that's right.
Incentives in here.
Yeah, there's a green
3%.
library incentive in there.
3% of the project, no, 3% of, what does it say? No, 3% of the entire
Additional, yeah.
Right.
can be allocated to sustainable green library incentive. So you could probably do some solar panels there,
Says minimum GLI is 100,000, maximum 500,000.
which is pretty, that's
Yeah.
in the ballpark. That would cover your energy costs for a long time.
So she wrote back to me because I had those questions.
So
And
that's page 8, Elena, if you're wondering where we were looking at that.
Thank you. So page 8 of the link or,
Yeah.
Oh, that link is what talks about the green library incentive.
yeah,
part of
okay,
it.
yeah, thank you.
there's an incentive.
So yeah, solar and batteries probably do a pretty good job for the library.
So she said, we hope to hold grant rounds every 4 to 5 years.
So if we wait,
So she said, if we are able to conduct one if we are able to, so I don't know if it's just like whether there's money,
Funding.
state funding.
oh, right.
In 4 years, it would be 2027 to 2028. This is on the cusp of your strategic plan expiring. So
By that time, you'll probably be working on
you're gonna be
renewing the
working on the
strategic
next
plan,
one,
yeah.
So, and then she responded about the feasibility study. There's an FAQ, and then she gave like an excerpt from the FAQ. Feasibility studies are not all the same, so it depends on the scope of the study. If the feasibility study involved a condition assessment of an existing structure to be retained as one of your site options, and it conforms to the required elements listed in the regulations and program notice, I told her we wanted to take it down.
Yeah.
Then that can be utilized as part of your application. If a needs assessment with community engagement was part of the process, then that also can be used. But this is what I thought was interesting. Any design work completed will not be eligible for use if accepted into the program, as the OPM and architect cannot be retained under a contract prior to entry into the grant round.
Oh,
So if we've used them prior to the grant round, I'm assuming that may mean
it doesn't count.
it doesn't count. Not that you couldn't go back to David and Abacus and say, can you rework the numbers? I mean,
But we'd have to put on RFP again.
right, yeah, I mean, you'd have to go through the process again. So, and as much as the feasibility study is nice to have, it doesn't really help us.
Right. Well, unless we're reading it wrong.
Right. But it seems to me like it says if it's prior to entry into the grant round, then
Definitely.
I assume you have to revisit the whole process.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I don't think you could just go back into the current feasibility study from 2020 and then change the figures and be voila.
Right. There we
Because it
go.
has to go out to bid, correct? I mean, or,
Yeah,
Again.
yeah, I think so. Well, if it's gonna start from scratch,
Mm.
well, maybe not, maybe. Because it does say he has to go through procurement.
Right.
So we did, but we did that
So the change factor
3 years ago.
by using 2023 state equalized evaluation and 2023 Department of Revenue and income figures. So they're asking for a need, a description of need and
Right.
fitting into some need,
Matrix.
yeah, that they've got
Yeah.
defined somewhere.
I-
Interesting.
I'm, like I said, I'm just putting it out there
Yep.
as something, I mean, I don't think it's something that we would be pursuing at this point.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I said, there have to be town
I'd love to,
buy-in.
but being realistic,
Get into some of the criteria there.
Okay.
6 page, or in page 6. Selection procedures, they say.
Oh, with the planning and design phase? Yeah.
It's a project. Oh yeah, planning and design phase, yes, it's the project. So there's a whole feasibility and need study that they do.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces in this. And a lot that has to happen, and a lot that has to happen in conjunction with the town.
Yeah.
And with municipal officials.
I just don't see
Yeah.
getting any buy-in. Certainly not by April 28th.
Yeah, I mean, they said
This year.
they said you can file that letter of intent, but you'd still need to have a municipal official like.
There's not gonna be
on
anybody.
letterhead, and it's just not.
That's not gonna
Right.
happen.
So, but I just wanted to lay the groundwork for the future,
Yeah.
if there's an interest there to do it. Because now there's not the limitation of size. Square.
Right,
footage.
yeah, that's nice.
And it sounds like it includes additions, not just an entirely new structure.
Right.
Because one of the things they used to have too is you had to have 2 different sites for the building in question. Yeah.
Hmm.
You had to
If we
bring.
can get
them-
one site here,
I know.
At least that's what I thought I had heard in
that's kind of nuts.
the informational session I attended.
What's the problem with the rectory? There's some of our,
Stuff there?
well, no, some of the infrastructure runs off of.
Okay, so the only operational sort of piece over there is the hot water heater.
Okay,
And there's a room in the basement, which is heated. And the reason it's heated is because when we didn't heat it before, the lines froze over to here. And that one year, I can't remember what it was, 2018 maybe? or
Yeah.
something. And so we're heating a room for a heater. And like you and I were talking about this, like you could take physically the things that are down there, put them in some sort of like outbuilding out here, and then just take down the rectory itself, because the rectory itself isn't, I mean, there's asbestos issues over there.
It's no,
But not
it's
that
not
big.
accessible.
It's not accessible, it's not in good condition. I had the MBOC, the 2 from the construction program, take a look at it, and they said, this isn't viable. I said, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
So if we could take that down.
Okay.
And then have an outbuilding.
I'll be full of mold too.
Oh, yeah,
Probably
sure.
is.
We take that down and just have an outbuilding that would have a heater in it or whatever. I mean, we could try to move it into the storage area in here. There's not a ton of
Yeah.
space. to-
No,
Maybe there'd be.
can't
some-
do that. That's not even, I wouldn't even
But.
consider that.
The problem at this point with that rectory is that it's just an absolute eyesore.
Yeah, and maybe a health hazard.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things that are stored over there. We're going to, in the spring, we're gonna go through that garage that's out there and get rid of some things. I think last time I heard from Kim about this, she said we could get a dumpster and dispense with things from there. And then there are things in the rectory too, like they left all their wood in there.
I know, there's like all construction
It's
stuff.
crazy. So, we could definitely empty out the rectory that.
Yeah.
So that we could actually take it down.
So you don't think that the rectory could have any type of
Use?
renovation? I know we talked about.
here's
Yeah, I know.
here's an alternative point of view.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You're not probably gonna get anybody interested in this.
No.
letting them actually have the option, because this is only gonna come around once every 5 years.
Mhm.
They, knowing full well they're gonna reject it, it's gonna come back up in 2032, 2033.
Right.
And then you're gonna wanna use it. And you've got some existing problems that we're relying on the rectory today.
Right.
Might as well just bring it to their attention. With the
Yeah.
process of saying, look, should we go through I'm sorry, what do they call it? Should we,
Go through with the
go
letter
through the
intent
letter of
process.
intent and just see, because this is an opportunity for us to have 60% of a project paid for by the state. It's good if you just get the process rolling with them so that they know, you notify them.
You think they won't get on board? Is it because of the senior center?
They can only handle one.
And the other thing too is the time frame might actually, for what they're trying to do with the funding, might actually get delayed. So you might actually get the time somewhere around 2030. And it might fit more into what is going on. with the
The other thing I could do, it's just this type of thing I can bring up. Like, there is a new construction grant round. It's not necessarily gonna happen this time, but we see it as that there's a potential for us to look in 2027, 2020, at doing something about the rectory and in addition, we have a feasibility study that's done now.
Right.
But something with the rectory
Right.
and getting solar panels on the roof. That would be a positive thing before, at least notifying them that we're keeping our eyes out
Yeah.
on the money that we can get from the state.
Right, that we're not just going to the town for money.
I
Right.
think it is probably a 90% chance of just getting no interest in doing anything at all,
Right.
but at least you're notifying them what's going on,
Right.
gave them options to get more money.
This
All
all
right, so
goes
does
back
that-
to the capital planning.
So my question would be better to mention trying to do a letter of intent this time, or to just prepare them for the fact that there may be the likelihood of us looking at this 2028.
Well, I think it's both.
Yeah.
You say, look, there's an option for us to put out a letter of intent
Right.
to try to get money from the state to fix a
May
rectory.
not even be awarded it because
Right.
it's gonna be very
very
competitive this
competitive.
first round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very competitive.
And it
Right.
looks like the need is part of the calculation that they do. So I'm not sure our need would be above someone else's, but
Right.
at least notify them that it's happening.
Yeah, can't hurt.
I mean, I'd like just for the building to come down at this point,
Well, yeah, I think so too.
you know?
I would like to take it down because I mean, from the front, it doesn't look nearly as bad as the back.
Right.
It's not gonna get any better.
No.
Gonna keep on getting worse.
Nobody's gonna go over and do a paint job on it or whatever.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Oh, I mean,
God
the
forbid,
friends had talked about it, but they,
because of a failure on the building.
Right,
So
exactly.
I don't know why it would be so expensive to take that down.
why the town didn't include it in the initial
Well, that's what I'm.
plan?
you know,
It blows my
probably should have just
mind.
Been taken down at the time of this being
Mhm.
built. And then figure out where you're gonna do where you're gonna put the water heater, essentially.
Yeah.
And if you had to have an outbuilding, you have to have an outbuilding.
I don't know. I wasn't around then.
Well,
The
so is
early
everybody,
stages.
I know, me neither.
is everybody in agreement that I mentioned the letter of intent?
Yeah, it can't hurt, but I hope that we're not just, they brush it under the rug, like, oh God, here comes the library again.
Right.
Here comes Andrew.
even if they do,
Yeah, you're putting it out there.
now when something happens, you say, look, I told you.
I told you we could have applied for this and tried to get 60% of it. Yeah, you're right. Because
At the tail end of my budget
Yeah.
discussion, whatever.
Make it your primary,
No.
because we
that's-
No.
want Tara to be full-time and we want
That's right.
Right.
those
Right.
hours.
This is like a side note.
Yeah,
Right,
as a side,
right.
It's a side note.
But I mean, if you think about it, if that building does have mold, because it's, God only knows what's growing over there right now, you know what I mean?
summer.
That potentially could be a hazard.
No, I agree. It is. I mean, I don't know what I'm ingesting when I go there.
I know, I mean, when we-
Yeah.
when we go in there, like, we just go into like sometimes the kitchen area when we're doing our book sale and stuff, and the smell, you're like, oh, you know, and I'm sure it's musty and, cause it's closed up, but it's, God, yeah, you
I
know?
have no idea what's taking up.
Waste in there?
If there are, I haven't looked close.
Could
you know.
send, we could send the Board of Health in there.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
But I'll, at the end, I'll just say, just as. a
Maybe you
side
need
note,
to,
Yeah.
You know.
you know?
We could pursue this with a letter of intent this time. I will say that, you know, having talked to the trustees, there's definite interest in 2028 for doing this, and so I just want to
Mhm.
put that out there.
Yeah,
So
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think so.
we're gonna be able to do that too. And like you said, with the green initiative piece of it, that would be something I think we could take advantage of based on the, I mean, at least here, the southern exposures.
Right,
Yeah.
Solar panel. Incentives built into this, so,
yeah,
okay. So that, yeah, that's basically the program notice. I'll talk to them Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just kind of to put it on everybody's radar.
Mhm.
If nothing else.
Yep.
Here, and over there. Yes. So that's that. All right, so just the one policy I had. So there used to be one that was called a policy on weather-related closings. And in 2020, we revisited it, and it's also emergency closings. Before, it was predicated on what the town would do in the event of weather. If they closed, then we closed. It was not a matter of whether the schools closed. It was just whether the town did. And back in the day before they had the reverse 911, which I thought was great,
Yeah.
it was, helped me out a lot. Was
Yeah.
I used to have to call over the town hall all the time and say, are you open?
Right.
Is there anybody there? It just wasn't, the system was not great. And so I think clearly back in 2020, we're having the same issue because this has all been changed.
yeah,
Why I didn't remember that this superseded what we had before,
right,
I know now. And so this was one that was approved by the trustees March 11, 2020. As a policy of the Taft Public Library to ensure the safety of its patrons, library staff, library administration will make every effort to maintain library operating hours. However, at times the library may have to close, shorten hours, or cancel programs or reservations due to emergency conditions. To ensure safety, excuse me, to ensure, not endure. Oops,
Mine says insure.
why does mine say endure? Must have changed it.
mine says the door.
Mine says insure.
Yeah,
What?
you got a different
You have a
copy.
different copy,
I printed it off your email.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah.
okay, so.
All right.
You
so let
guys
me
got
go
your
back and
copies
check.
from him.
Yeah, yeah.
We did.
Ignore that.
printed
Hers
this one off
says
his email.
insure. Clearly, what the?
You must have printed one of the old
Printed
ones.
one of the, but how come this is approved? Okay, well, whatever. I'll take a look and make sure that.
What's your approval date on
I
your?
don't have an approval date on it. In fact, it was 2 pages, but page 2 was blank.
That's interesting.
So maybe this was your draft one you originally had.
Maybe it was.
And you
Well,
spelled it right the first
all
time.
right, so it's now, it will have to be changed to ensure.
Uh,
To ensure safety of patrons and staff, the Taft Public Library will consider closing the library, shortening hours of operation, canceling programs based on one or more of the following. Hazardous travel conditions, weather advisories, or the closure or delay of town of Mendon departments due to inclement weather. Library parking lot and or walks are not cleared and are hazardous. Building conditions
never
and,
happens.
I know, seriously, building conditions and or equipment failures have created an unsafe environment, i.e. power outage, failure of the heating system. General health or safety conditions of, or other emergency circumstances out of the library's control. In the event of severe weather, a power outage, or a health and safety emergency, the closure of the library is at the discretion of
Mine
the
says
library.
inclement.
Mine does.
What is
I'm
it?
going off of the phone,
Mine says
my phone now.
inclement weather.
Ah,
In the event of inclement.
well, we can change it to inclement if you think that's better than
Because
severe.
it doesn't have to be severe.
No, let's say inclement.
Well, I can just give you this one.
Yeah, but this one is actually, this one's quite a bit longer.
It is longer.
Has a couple more paragraphs and this looks like this was trimmed
I
down.
have the more recent one.
You think so?
Well, that's the one you emailed to us. You printed off a
Going off of.
different version. Yeah,
It's much different than this, actually.
Oh my gosh. Oh, help me. Sorry.
that's all right. You do need to change Board of Selectmen to Select Board.
Yes. Although that's not even in this
Oh,
one.
yeah, it says Town Administrator.
The library director shall notify all scheduled employees about the close as well as the chair and vice chair of the library board of trustees and the town administrator.
She's not in this version.
And that's just to notify her. The decision to close was already, basically it's just to tell her that that's what's
So
happening.
from there, that's here.
Can I see the back?
You're missing all this part.
Can I see that part?
You can have that.
The 4 paragraphs.
The thing that gets me with this one is that there isn't really an approved, it's not approved at all. And this one
Right.
actually
Were you
says
working
approved
on
by
it
the
again
library board of
after that one?
trustees. I don't think so.
You trimmed it down and finalized?
I think we trimmed it down and finalized it.
I do like this in here about the Friday and Saturday.
A decision to close the library on either of those days.
That's not
bad
up
with the
here.
rest of the library director.
Sounds like we got an opportunity to approve a new policy.
I know.
I mean, I don't have an issue with it if you want to include or add things in. I can come back to you with
Yeah,
a revision.
let's look at it again.
My apologies. God, what
That's
the
all right.
heck? I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Oh, well,
I think you are.
So we have, for all the policies, we have to have 2 read-throughs and then we vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes forever to get a policy through.
so the one you sent us is a little longer.
All right, so here are my questions.
The shorter, more condensed is better.
Right, but my question would be, it says here on this one, in every instance, if the town hall should close, the library will close. The town hall is scheduled to be closed prior to the start of the workday. A written or verbal notice will be sent out to the supervisors of the various departments who in turn should contact other employees. and
Which
notify
doesn't
them.
happen.
Yeah, and
That's an
honestly,
old
why is that
policy.
in here anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
It shouldn't be in there because that's not,
So you sent us an
We're
old
doing.
one. That's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to include some things, now that we've got these both on the
Mhm.
table, we can do that.
I mean, it looked pretty good when I read it.
Yeah,
I skipped over endure.
So you don't make any reference to the schools.
no.
No.
I don't think we've ever based anything.
Yeah, I don't know why it came up.
I don't think it should be, because especially if the schools are closed and the town offices decide that it's not that bad out, that we can open, even if we have a delayed opening or something. People might be like, hey, the library's open, let's go to the library, you know?
The school is that because it has to make a decision so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes the decision is incorrect for what the weather.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Right.
But, you know,
True.
another point, flip side is the library decides to open, now you're putting people on the roads when the highway department's trying to clean the roads because.
In the parking lot.
You know,
I think if the town decides, I don't have a problem if the town decides to close their town offices, then I think we can follow that.
yeah.
But I think if it's just the school that's choosing to close and the town
Oh,
doesn't
then-
choose to
yeah.
close, I don't think we need to.
But see, this is my problem, because I don't know if this is a new thing for them now, where every time the school is closed, the town hall's gonna be
Yeah,
closed,
I
because this
don't know.
last time
That
it was
was-
just kind of,
That was different than we'd ever seen before.
right.
Well, again, it's
So what is it that they
I
want?
mean, it was something.
senior center is closed if the school's closed.
If the schools are closed.
Senior center's always done different things.
I know, but
They're not
it's-
even open on Fridays.
But it's true.
Yeah,
Andrew's got 2 extra days than the
Yeah,
town hall does.
Right.
Um,
and you're not, the senior centers.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I would agree with you that if the town build offices are closed, then the library should close.
Or inclement weather. Make sure you specify that.
And it ultimately is the discretion of the director if you choose to close for a different reason, like somebody hasn't come and plowed you. Or, you know, the weather's supposed to get worse.
or your staff can't get in here because of,
Yeah.
I know.
So, definitely you should have some discretion there. We are the trustees of this building.
yeah,
Right.
So we can defer to some things to you.
I do think there's, like, there have been times when the schools are called off, so the senior center is closed.
Yeah.
And then it's not quite that bad, and Amy all of a sudden decides that, maybe we should stay open. I think when you make a decision that regardless of whatever improvements are happening in the weather.
Yeah, don't flip flop.
Don't flip.
you can't flip flop. I agree.
No, I mean, the other Tuesday, if we had just done a delayed opening, we could have been open because it wasn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
right. But if you have that opportunity to do the reverse 911 call, then you can get people to know
The
libraries will be
later.
open at,
That's the one I sent out. What is it? It really should have been this one. All right, so. What do we need to do at this point? I mean, I can put in there that if the town offices are closed, the library is closed.
I think you need to send us the shorter one.
Yep.
And ask us to look it over and add any, and then we can review again.
Okay.
yeah,
the next meeting.
yeah, that's actually a good
Alright, so
idea.
Let me, tomorrow, I will send this out to everyone. And say, please read it through, add in where you feel necessary. Anything for, if you think of something that is.
So we'll get,
And send-
give you our feedback
send me your feedback,
prior to
exactly.
the next meeting, so the
Right,
next
that
meeting
I
we can
craft-
do a read through.
Based off of your feedback, I'll craft a policy and then bring it.
We'll read through it.
Sounds good.
Decide. Okay, that's
I'm
probably.
gonna mention it to Amy too, because I don't know if it's a good thing to have one institution that's deciding because of the school and another one because of.
Right,
Yeah, I agree.
this is-
It should be.
This should have been like a town
Right.
Should
sort
be a
of.
town policy, Elena.
Poor Elena.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just
Mute.
I haven't followed the closure policy. I just, get notifications. So
I mean.
I don't know. I don't have a lot
If
of,
there was a unified.
Right.
It should be a unified
That
town
would be so much
policy.
Easier,
Yeah,
me over in Medway on a given day, not knowing what things are like over here. If everybody was just in
Right.
sync.
right. And even Tara's not, she's still in Milford, which is potentially,
Makes it A lot easier if I know this is what we're doing.
Right.
Okay, great, fine. And everybody follows this.
yeah, that's,
Town hall's closed, we're closed. Town hall is open, we're open. Anyway, I will send this out to everyone.
All right,
The correct version. And then send me the feedback. I'll add it into the policy. What you like, great. What you don't like, I'll excise. Maybe it'll be the next meeting. Fine, paper.
Good,
And
cool.
my apologies with this, because I don't know.
Big Andrew.
It kills me though, like.
you'll be
clearly
here
have-
yourself up more than we have.
I know, really.
Not really a big deal.
I will find the
Move
short,
on.
this version here, and I will send it out.
All right,
That's that.
all right. Anybody get anything else? No, next meeting, April 13th is, we're still doing Thursdays, right?
That is very pleasing to me.
Okay.
Say on Thursdays.
Fine with me, I don't care. I
Um,
only have 2 meetings left. Thanks.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe only
Well,
one. Maybe only one.
When is? let's
The
see,
election's
next
the
month's April,
16th.
And then.
Let's see, let's see.
so you have 2 meetings left.
I have 2
Yeah.
meetings left.
Right. Oh,
So I'm only bringing this up as a general question. So please let me proceed with that. At what point do we, in the process, before you leave, do we vote as a group for who takes over for your positions, both of
That's
your
interesting
positions?
because somebody will have to preside over that first meeting. So it makes sense to reorganize right before the election.
Okay,
You're certainly not gonna want the new people to be your chair and vice chair. So I would say that the May meeting, you reorganize so that your next meeting with the new people, you'll have somebody running the meeting.
so on the May 11th meeting.
So it is May 11th, I
I
think.
think that's what I just saw. April 13th, and then it would be May 11th. Okay.
Um, question.
Yeah.
Did you wanna ask a the two people, papers, did you hear anything?
Chuck, no, I did send him an email
Okay.
and I gave him the nomination
I
papers.
didn't know if you wanted to talk about an alternate.
Yeah. Anybody know anyone that'd like to run? Please.
I haven't thought about it yet, so
Well,
give it a gander.
Got a couple weeks to pick up papers and signatures. But,
I was thinking how stupid I was for not bringing my papers here tonight.
I know you
Oh,
should
yeah,
have.
that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because at the schools I found, nobody lives in Mendon. When I was
Oh,
running for
yeah, yeah.
trustees, I couldn't get any signatures. Nobody lived in Mendon.
But there's a strategic committee going on, so people from Mendon are there.
Oh, yeah. No. All right,
What's the deadline for papers, Ellen?
the 28th to pick up and return.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same day, but preferably before. They'll need 28 signatures. So if they're afraid of that, they need to talk to anybody about it. I'll be glad to sit down with anyone that wants to consider it. We really could use somebody. And really, at this point, it's a good time to jump in for a new person because we're not doing anything drastic. We just finished the strategic plan. They won't have to be an officer because, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that will have been taken care of, so they can just participate.
Especially a parent. Wonderful.
Yeah, James Thatch is a parent. He's picked up papers.
Turn them in
No, James hasn't turned him in yet. No, the young man up the street turned his in. So anyway,
Cool.
I'll ask Tara again too, this next week. And I'll think about it.
otherwise we're gonna force rain. We're
Wayne
gonna
to-
write
Wayne
in
to
your
run it.
name and you're
Oh,
gonna have another term.
And wasn't I the top vote getter the last time?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I think
were.
I was.
Yes, you were.
Everybody loves Santa.
All right, let's adjourn.
All right, I vote to I motion to adjourn.
All right. So be it, 7:49. Thank you for coming, Elena.
Yep, sorry not to be there in person, but
That's okay.
Thanks, Elena.
good to see and hear you anyhow, so. I always wonder, do I have a giant face in the screen there? Like,
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're the only
Yeah.
face there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I keep turning off the camera. I'm like, I don't really want the video to be just my face, so.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
Good night.
have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. That's very funny.
We're done recording.